Alhamdulillah wa sallallahu wa sallam ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Some muqaddimat. We're coming to some important also muqaddimat or fawaid, benefits that we proceed the halaqah with it. Some muqaddimat which are very important. We begin with it inshallah. When we were talking about the difference between Tawheed al-Rububiyyah and Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah, we mentioned many differences. So when we are talking about the difference between Tawheed al-Rububiyyah and Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah, we mentioned the confession of the people of Jahiliyyah. Whenever they're asked who created the heavens and the earth, they don't say our gods as well. They say it's Allah only. They never add to him anyone in terms of creation, sustaining, cherishing. It's only him. So why do you take other gods with him? If you believe that he is the only creator, why do you take other gods with him? Here comes an important point which I did not make before. That the prophets, whenever they approach their people, when they admonish their people, the first word they approach them with, they address them with is اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره. The first thing they begin with is worship your Lord. You have no other God to worship except him. So, if Tawheed al-Rububiyyah is important, that is to know that there is a creator for the world, why the prophets did not begin with this? وَإِلَىٰ عَادٍ أَخَاهُمْ هُودًا قَالَ يَا قَوْمِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مَا لَكُم مِّنْ إِلَٰهٍ غَيْرُهُ وَإِلَىٰ ثَمُودَ أَخَاهُمْ صَالِحًا قَالَ يَا قَوْمِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مَا لَكُم مِّنْ إِلَٰهٍ غَيْرُهُ. Always you find this ayah is repeated in the Quran, which indicates that this is the first thing that the Anbiya approach their people with. They do not begin with, oh my people, you should know that there is a creator in the world. No need for it. Why? Because Allah knows that this is not what people need to know. It's already there in the system of their inner natural disposition. It is there already. So if acknowledging that there's one creator is important, the prophets would have began with it, but they did not begin with it. The first thing they begin with, worship your Lord. Worship Allah. But what is the Tawheed of Ilm al-Kalam? What is the Tawheed of Ilm al-Kalam? Logical rhetoric. Theological, yes. Which is not logic, by the way. We're going to come to that. That their theological way of rhetoric is not logical. And you will see. They will say, At-Tawheed is to prove that the creatures, that all what is other than Allah are created. Then we can move to the oneness of one creator to prove that he is the only one creator. Well, if Abu Jahl saw this kind of Tawheed, he'll be saying, welcome. That's so beautiful, amazing. I don't mind this. They don't mind that. People of Jahiliyyah, they wouldn't mind this. It's there in the Quran already. When you ever ask them who created the heavens and the earth, they would surely say to you, it is Allah. The people of Jahiliyyah, they'll be saying it is Allah. But what can be a worship for other than Allah in the perspective, for example, of the Maturidi people? Have you heard of the Maturidi people? Look. Al-Maturidi says in his book At-Tawheed, page 53 and 100, and also mentioned in Ithaf al-Sad al-Muttaqeen, the explanation of Ihya Ulum al-Din for Al-Murtada al-Zabidi, who made his commentary and explanation of Ihya Ulum al-Din for Al-Ghazali. In this book also, volume 2, page 158, he says, as for the Maturidi, he says, opposing in this what the Ash'aris believe, that the the attributes of Allah's actions, yani the active kind of attributes of Allah, such as creating, causing rain, creating me, creating you, moving the stars, moving the universe. These are attributes of action. It has a beginning. But the Maturidists believe that all the attributes of Allah are eternal. It has no beginning. They do not differentiate between the attributes of actions and the attributes of the person. They don't differentiate between the two. Therefore, they accuse the Ash'aris that they worship someone other than Allah. Why? They say, believing that the attributes, one among the attributes of Allah, even one of the attributes of Allah, has a beginning, it will lead to the belief that Allah is subject to changing, and that will be leading to the consequence of worshipping someone other than Allah. This is a tragedy. So the Ash'aris, in the Maturidist perspective, they're not Muslims. Al-Haytami, in his book, I think, let me check which book. Al-Haytami, just give me 1 second, because when I speak, I want to speak with knowledge. Yeah. No speaking without knowledge. No way. Yeah, look what he says. Sifatul af'al, the attributes of action, haditha عند الأشاعرة, created by the Ash'aris. Now the word haditha, that has another thing which we're going to come to. Hadith, with those people of logical, theological rhetoric, it means created. Hadith means created. This is a terminology that has existed in the Quran, but they have agreed to give it a different meaning. Hadith, it doesn't mean makhluq necessarily, but to them it means makhluq, created. And this is a problem. This is a problem. Look what he says. Al-Haytam, Ibn Hajar al-Haytami is different than Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, the commentator of Sahih al-Bukhari. That's another person who was Ash'ari but very fanatic one. And he was even enemy to Ibn Taymiyyah, claiming that Ibn Taymiyyah is a servant that Allah had led him astray, and he made his sight and heart blind, etc., etc. But this man is giving a confession that the attributes of action in the Ash'ari's perspective are haditha, yani makhluqa, created. But qadima عند الماتريدية, it's eternal in the Maturidist perspective. He mentioned it in the book Fath al-Mubin, Sharh al-Arba'in, page 78. And even Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, in his commentary, Fath al-Bari, the commentary of Sahih al-Bukhari, he confessed this in Fath al-Bari, volume 13, page 439. Thus, you can see a great deal of disagreement and contradiction between those who say, our mind is first, second, the book of Allah, third, the sunnah of Rasulullah. If your minds are sound and capable to be preceded over the book and the sunnah, why do you have these differences? Why you are in different cults? You are Ash'aris and Maturidis. Why? This is a question. So there's a problem with the minds. Even Al-Izz ibn Abd al-Salam. Al-Izz ibn Abd al-Salam. Oh, we'll mention that later. We don't want to drift you. Yeah. So that will lead us to also to mention something very important, and I want you to pay attention to. If you don't know this and you don't make that differentiation, you may fall in these fitna of those cults and sects. الصفات الإلهية على قسمين. The divine attributes are of two types. صفات الفعل صفات الذات, the attributes of Allah's person. وهو ما استحقه فيما لم يزل ولا يزال. These are the attributes of what Allah deserved eternally, and He still deserves these attributes until no end. What are those attributes? Jazakallahu khairan. I was going to ask you to. Does it contain sugar or salt? Sugar. طيب. صفات الذات, the attributes of the person. What are they? That Allah Alim, Hakim, Qadir, Mutakallim. Okay? All those attributes. In fact, all of His attributes in this term are eternal. That means, let's take one attribute of them. Mutakallim, that Allah speaks. Okay? Does Allah speak in a time different than another time? Yes or no? The Maturidists say no. That's why they said when Allah spoke to Musa, He created speech in the tree. Oh my God. That means the tree was saying to Musa, Inni ana Allah. What? The tree was saying to Musa, I am Allah? They wanted to run away from what? From proving that Allah can speak in a time apart from the other. Because if they acknowledge this, if they affirm this, if they confess this, that would be ruining their system, their doctrine, their ideology, that what? That Allah should not be changing. And they call the actions of Allah's attributes changing. That's why they did not confess. They did not make for Allah except one type of attributes. One type of attributes. They did not differentiate between the attributes of the person, the attributes of the action. They made them all eternal, which is wrong. That's what caused them the fitna of changing all the attributes of Allah's actions to make them eternal. This is fitna in itself. Look, let's say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates eternally. You know, if you say that Allah created me eternally, that means I am eternal. I have no beginning, I have no end. He created me eternally. That means His creation of me has no beginning. So that means I also have no beginning. Unless you differentiate between the attributes of the person and the attributes of action. So we said, number one, the attributes of a person, هو ما استحقه فيما لم يزل ولا يزال. These are the attributes that Allah deserved eternally from no beginning until no end. And among them, the attribute of kalam, that Allah speaks. Did it come a time with Allah that He did not deserve to speak and suddenly He deserved to be attributed that He speaks? No. He is eternally deserving to be attributed that He speaks. But the speech that He spoke to Musa, is it eternal? No. Does it mean it is created? No. It has a beginning, it means it's created? No. Allah can speak from time to another time, and His speech is not created. It's not like it's not like my speech. No. And by the way, we believe that Allah someday is going to raise His kalam, His Quran, from the chests, from the pages of the books, and it will be raised back to Him. And we believe that the speech of Allah, from Him it began. We don't say from Him it was created. It had began from Him, and to Him it will return. Because Allah creates by His words. Unlike Christianity. Christianity believes that the word itself, the logos, they call it the logos, became flesh and dwelt among us. Have you heard them saying that? Huh? And we add to them this, and he died among us. When I say that, and he died among us, they fall in trouble. This is a trap. When they put themselves in that trap, I'll trap them. We have to. طيب. What about the attributes of action? هو ما استحقه فيما لا يزال دون الأزل. These are the attributes of what he deserved from the beginning, but it has an end. It has an end. Like what? Like the speech Allah spoke to Musa. Allah said to Musa, what did Allah say to Musa? فَلَمَّا أَتَاهَا. When Musa came to the valley, close to that tree, نُودِيَ يَا Musa. Then, after he came, he was then called. إِنِّي أَنَا رَبِّ يَا Musa, إِنِّي أَنَا رَبُّكَ. Oh Musa, I am your Lord. But Allah was not saying to him before he came to the valley of Sinai, He didn't say to him, "Oh Musa, I'm your Lord." Yani to them, according to the Maturidi Aqidah, Allah was eternally saying, "Ya Musa, oh Musa, oh Musa." And Musa died. And Allah still saying, "Oh Musa, what's that in your right hand?" Until no end. How come? Still Allah speak to Musa while Musa died. And even Juwayni, Al-Imam Juwayni, who was Ash'ari, hardcore Ash'ari, and then he repented. He said, the matter of giving an order to an ordered person who is not available, it is a problem to believe it. How come Allah say, "Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu," O you who have believed, while He did not create them yet? How can He call someone who is not created yet? Who said that Allah has two types of attributes? Attributes of person, attributes of action. Someone who is well-known person, Al-Imam Al-Bayhaqi, in his book Al-I'tiqad, page 70, he differentiated between the actions of the attributes of person and the attributes of action. And even Ibn Hajar Al-Asqalani, in his book Fath al-Bari, volume 13, page 357, Ibn Hajar himself also quoted Al-Kirmani, and he is a well-known scholar. He used to be always citing his words, his statements. He divided the attributes of Allah of three types of attributes. He said, Sifat haditha, attributes that are haditha. We're going to make comment about the word hadith. وَلَا يَلْزَمُ مِنْ حُدُوثِهَا تَغَيِّرٌ فِي اللَّهِ. And it is not imperative. If we say that these kinds of attributes, such as creating, such as providing, it is not imperative that if you say that, it means Allah, you're making a change in Allah. No. Allah Himself said, كُلَّ يَوْمٍ هُوَ فِي كُلَّ يَوْمٍ هُوَ فِي شَأْنٍ. Every day, He is in a different matter. Creating, doing, going down to the lowest heaven, going up. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not get over His own throne until He created the heavens and the earth in 7 days, as He said in the Quran. الله الذي خلق السماوات والأرض وما بينهما في ستة أيام ثم استوى. ثم means in English then. That means then, after the creation. He's talking about what? Factor of time. Then He went over His throne. It's clear in the Quran. Some people today, I was arguing with them, and we've been talking about majaz, metaphor. And they said, if you deny metaphor, You are going against the mind. I said, forget about the mind. But tell me, if I don't use this metaphoric system regarding Allah's names and attributes, what is my punishment? No one answered. I kept 1 hour saying to them, what is my punishment? Is this major sin? Minor sin? Tell me. Will Allah be asking me at the day of judgment, why didn't you believe that my attributes are metaphoric? Will He be punishing me? He attributed Himself hundreds of attributes in the Quran. He never said, don't believe that it means externally what you think. Those who use this metaphoric system, okay, in the books, the divine books, they do not give any respect to their books. No respect. And as if they're telling people that the revelation of Allah externally, it means false. It has false meanings. Unless we use the majaz to correct that external false meaning, words. That means a Christian doesn't need to become a Muslim. He'll be saying to you, you said that the exterior meaning of your book are false. And that's why it needed majaz, metaphor. So how can we accept your book and while you say that your book has false direct meanings? It need what? The metaphoric system to be corrected, to be rectified. We know Christians don't respect their books because this kind of metaphor, it is the last resort for those who know that their books contain falsehood. The last resort for them is to say, this is metaphor. And how do they differentiate between what should be taken metaphorically and what should be taken literally? There is no law. The desire is the judge, not the law. So, let's come to something important. Al-Bukhari, rahimahullah. Is Al-Bukhari a significant Sunni scholar or not? Huh? Or is Wahhabi? Let's see what he said. He cited the ayah, كُلَّ يَوْمٍ هُوَ فِي شَأْنٍ, and also another ayah, لا تدري لعل الله يحدث بعد ذلك أمرا. Now look what he said. Al-Bukhari said, حدث الله لا يشبه حدث المخلوقين. The hadath of Allah, it doesn't go similarly with the hadath of the created people, created beings. Because Allah said, ليس كمثله شيء. So he's affirming to Allah hadath. So if the word hadath means creation, to create, or the creatures, or what is being created, how can Bukhari attribute to Allah something created? How can he say that Allah has a created being, something created in him? Did you understand my point? Who understood my point? No one. Oh my God. No one. We mentioned before that the word hadath, muhdath, is mentioned in the Quran. But it doesn't mean created. And we know that the theological rhetoric people, they use the word muhdath as indication to what? To what is created. Okay? But Bukhari is saying here, Allah said that may Allah happily yuhdith, to initiate a matter. So initiating a matter doesn't mean creating. Such as amra, al-amr. What is amr? Huh? Huh? The matter of Allah is created? No. Because Allah, by His matter, He creates. إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا. The matter of Allah is this. Whenever He will to create something, أن يقول له كن فيكون. that Allah says to him, be. Huh? And it becomes a being. So tell me, أن يقول كن. So Allah is speaking. By speech Allah creates. Is that right? Did you understand it? By Allah's speech He creates. How can someone say that the speech of Allah is created while Allah creates by His speech? Did you understand it? Anyone did not understand it? Tell me. Okay. Allah says in His Quran that He says to the thing, be. Is this a word? Be. Is a word or not? So Allah create by the word be. So is the word be created? The answer is no. Because Allah does not create something by His created thing. He does not create something by what is created. Now clear, inshallah? Okay. This is the evidence of Ahl Sunnah against the Mu'tazila, who said that the words of Allah are created. Clear, Ubaid? Alhamdulillah. So let those people tell us about Bukhari. Is he dal? Deluded? It's been narrated in Sahih al-Bukhari. فَلَمَّا فَرَغَ اللَّهُ مِنْ خَلْقِهِ. There's another one. فَلَمَّا فَرَغَ اللَّهُ مِنْ مُحَاسَبَةِ عِبَادِ. When Allah had finished, accomplished, bringing people to account, yani judging people. When He finished judging, finished, yani it's over. Doesn't this indicate an action of time or not? It does. Why we have these attributes in the book of Allah and the Sunnah, the authentic books of the Sunnah? And those people never said, never believe that, except the people who are affected and influenced by ilm al-kalam. Those are the only people. No. So the real corruption that occurred among those people of theological rhetoric is when they did not differentiate between the attributes of the person and the attributes of action, and made all the attributes of Allah eternal. They fell in this problem. Now, sometimes Ash'ari say, Imam al-Razi, he's the Imam of Ahl Sunnah. Imam Razi, Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani in his book Lisan al-Mizan, he affirmed the fact that al-Razi on his bed of death, he was crying, shedding tears, because he made himself busy all his life with what? With ilm al-kalam, theological rhetoric. Al-Juwayni also is quoted that he said, I wish I haven't wasted my time with ilm al-kalam. What did al-Razi say? He said something very important. Look. Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani quoted him saying, the statement of the one who stated that Allah speaks by speech that stands, that can initiate by His irada, by His will. Yani the speech occurs after Allah's will. I repeat it. The speech of Allah occurs after Allah's will. هو أصح الأقوال عقلا ونقلا, is the most sound opinion. عقلا, that means by logic. ونقلا, by the evidence from the book and the Sunnah. Unlike what the Maturidis and the others say, that no, all the attributes of Allah are eternal. And that's why they had to say that when Allah spoke to Musa, He created speech in the tree. This tree should be worshipped. When a tree speaks and the tree says, look, if Allah does this, as if Allah is encouraging people to worship even the tree. When He creates speech in the tree, and the tree starts to say, I am Allah, O Musa, I am your Lord, Musa, people are supposed to be worshipping that tree. Allah is subjecting people to become pagans, worshipping the tree, because the tree was saying, I am Allah, I am your Lord. What kind of belief is that? What's the matter with those people? Those people, they wanted to reconcile between the book and the sunnah and the theological rhetoric. But unfortunately, they bring the book and the sunnah to what suits the theological rhetoric, not the opposite. This is a big problem. Do you think that this did not cause problem? You will see. You will see the confession of even Ghazali, who said that the whole corruption and division in the ummah and the fitan and tribulations, it occurred because of this theological rhetoric. So, Al-Razi said, أكثر العقلاء يقولون بقيام الحوادث بالرب وإن أنكروه باللسان. Most of those people of logic, they affirm that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala acts by actions that have beginning, even if they denied it. Then finally he said in his book Al-Arba'in في أصول الدين, page 118, he said, those Mu'tazili, Jahmi, when they're asked about the attribute actions of Allah, they say, these are not attributes of action, these are attached to the attributes of Allah. Attached attributes with the attributes of, these are not the attributes of Allah. For example, that Allah spoke to Musa. They say this is not the attribute itself. This is what has been attached to the attribute. Just to give any justification, to justify their false belief and ideology. So, ilm al-kalam became to those people of theological rhetoric, became at-tawheed itself. Look what Ghazali said. Notice here that Ghazali was one of those people who were drawn in philosophy, then in ilm al-kalam. And by the way, the ilm al-kalam, theological rhetoric, is the begotten son of philosophy. Begotten son of philosophy. And Ibn Salah, in his Muqaddimah, he affirmed this fact, that mantiq, ilm al-kalam and philosophy are the same. These are the branches of the source. What is that source? The philosophy. Yeah. Look what Ghazali says. I'm going to mention the word in Arabic and translate it to you. It's very important. وقد جعل التوحيد الآن عبارة عن صناعة الكلام. Tawheed became nowadays the profession of علم الكلام. وسمي المتكلمون بعلماء التوحيد. And those people of theological rhetoric, they are being called nowadays what? The scholars of Tawheed. مع أن جميع هذه الصناعة. Although all of this kind of theological rhetoric لم يكن يعرف منها شيء في العصر الأول. Nothing of it was known by the early time of Islam. بل كان يشتد منهم النكير على من كان يفتح بابا من الجدل والممارة. They used to be extremely highly criticizing anyone who opens a gate or a door of what? Arguing. Because this theological rhetoric is a system of argument. They argue. They don't argue for the truth. They argue to prove their point. That's why while they are proving their own point, they run away from questions. Due to my experience yesterday and today, I always go with, I keep 1, 2, 3 hours asking one question to those people and they never answer. But instead, they give me questions to cover their running away from my questions. That's what they do. Where Ghazali said that in his book Ihya Ulumuddin, volume 1, page 95. You may ask this question, what was the last book that Imam Ghazali wrote? Because they say to you, Imam Ghazali is the Imam of Ilm al-Kalam theological rhetoric. Oh yeah? Tell me please, what was the name of the last book he wrote just 14 days before his death? Just 14 days before his death. What was the name of that book, please? إلجام العوام عن علم الكلام. Prohibiting the layman people from learning علم الكلام, theological rhetoric. That's the name of the book that he wrote. And he was warning from this theological rhetoric, saying, وَالدَّلِيلُ عَلَى مَضَرَّتِهِ, and the evidence of its harm, مَا ثَارَ مِنَ الْفِتَنِ بَيْنَ الْخَلْقِ. The evidence is what occurred between people of fitan, منذ نبغ المتكلمون, since those people of theological rhetoric had appeared. Since they have appeared, and the ummah is suffering division and fitan because of that. Who said that? Abu Hamid al-Ghazali. Who affirmed it? Al-Murtada al-Zabidi, the author of the book إتحاف السادة المتقين بشرح إحياء علوم الدين, volume 2, page 44. And you know, the West would like to keep the value of this person, Ghazali. That's why every year they make what? They celebrate his birthday. They celebrate his birthday and they make conferences showing the value of Ghazali. Why? They're not Muslims. Yeah, they're not Muslims. But you know, they have to revive those pillars of misguidance. Despite Ghazali, he went against al-Kalam, but did he say clearly, I have repented? No, he didn't say clearly. But we hope that he made tawbah. We hope so. Then Ghazali said, من أشد الناس غلوا, among the most extreme people, قوم are those people who كفروا عوام المسلمين. They charged the layman people of kufr. وزعموا أن من لم يعرف علم الكلام على طريقتنا بأدلتها التي حررناها فهو كافر. They claim that the one who doesn't know the aqidah, the ideology, through our way of ilm al-kalam, theological rhetoric, and he did not know the creeds and the doctrines by the evidences that we concluded, then he is kafir. وَجَعَلُوا الْجَنَّةَ وَقْفًا عَلَى شِرْذِمَةٍ يَسِيرَةٍ مِنَ الْمُتَكَلِّمِينَ. And they confined Jannah to the little number of those people of theological rhetoric. Jannah is confined for them. This is what Al-Ghazali himself said. That means there was a big problem with this theological rhetoric. And now there are people who are taking for them some students, even in the UK here, teaching them and basing them on the basis of what? Theological rhetoric. Caring not about the experience that Ghazali is giving us to advise us and to warn us from following this kind of theological rhetoric. Now, coming to another issue. I'm sorry, please, I know that Tahawyah is important, but sometimes really there are important things that we need to know. So please forgive me if sometimes I have to make these explanations, because I humbly say you may not get this easily by someone who speaks English. So please forgive me. Now Shaitan is saddening those who affirm to Allah what he affirmed to himself. He wants to make them sad. He wants to discourage them. So he wants to penetrate sadness to their hearts because they affirm to Allah what he affirmed to himself. What is the good way to do that? What is the best way to do it? To look at the one who says, yes, I believe that Allah is over his throne. Mujassim, mushabbih, jihawi. What's the meaning of that? Mujassim means what? Making Allah body. What's the way they say in English to you? Mujassim, mushabbih. Mushabbih means you're making Allah similar to His creatures. What is the way they say to you? Mushabbih, mujassim. You don't know it? Huh? There's a long word. I remember it, but what? Huh? Yeah, promologist. Wallahi, I need to go to the physiologist to to stick that word in my brain. Anyway, yeah, that's what they say. Yeah, that means you're making Allah body, similar to His creatures. Mushabbih, mujassim, jihawi. Jihawi means you're attributing to Allah the direction. Do we attribute to Allah direction? Yes. The direction that He affirmed to Himself that He is over His creatures. That's the direction we affirm to Allah. It is the direction that Allah affirmed to Himself, attributed to Himself, right? I wanted to listen to these important words mentioned by the Salaf. Ahmad ibn Sinan, I love, today I was reading this and I said, may Allah grant him mercy. And I want you to ask Allah to grant him mercy. He said, ليس في الدنيا مبتدع إلا وهو يبغض أهل الحديث. There is no mubtadi', but he hates the people of hadith. Why? Because they refute his bid'ah. While other people, no, they don't. وَإِذَا ابْتَدَعَ الرَّجُلُ بِدْعَةً. And if man innovated an innovation, نُزِعَتْ حَلَاوَةُ الْحَدِيثِ مِنْ قَلْبِهِ. The sweetness of hadith will be removed from his heart. It's beautiful, isn't it? Siyar A'lam al-Nubala for Al-Dhahabi, volume 12, page 245. Tadhkiratul Huffaz, second volume, page 521. Sawn al-Mantiq wal-Kalam for As-Siyuti, who quoted that, page 41. Ma'rifat Ulum al-Hadith, for Al-Hakim al-Naysaburi, page number 4. Sharaf Ashab al-Hadith, the honor of the people of Hadith, of Imam al-Khatib al-Baghdadi, page 73. Now, let's come to the important thing. Abdullah ibn Mubarak. Have you heard of Abdullah ibn Mubarak, by the way? Huh? Yes or no? Yes. He's a great person of the Salaf. Great person. What did he say? من قال لك يا مشبه فاعلم أنه جهمي. Whoever said to you, you are mushabbih, mujassim, you should be aware, well aware, that he is Jahmi. Jahmi, that means he's a follower of Jahm ibn Safwan, the first one who brought this fitna to the Muslim world. The denial of Allah's names and attributes, claiming that they indicate similarity between Allah and His creatures. So did you understand now the meaning of the word Jahmi? Jahmi has, subhanallah, I praise Allah who inspired the parents of Jahm to give him a name that requires one letter to become Jahannam. And that is to add letter Noon to his name. That's why some scholars said, وَاشْتُقَّ لَهُ اسْمٌ مِّن جَهَنَّمِ. And for him a name that was plagiarized from Jahannam. He's so close to Jahannam. His name is Jahm. He just needs the letter Noon to be added, and his name is Jahannam. Not only Jahm. Abu Hatim al-Razi, one of the deepest kind of people of Sunnah, as-Salaf Salih. He said, وَعَلَامَةُ أَهْلِ الْبِدْعِ, and the sign of the people of bid'ah, الْوَقِيعَةُ فِي أَهْلِ الْأَثَرِ, criticizing the people of Athar, people of Hadith yani. وَعَلَامَةُ الْجَهْمِيَّةِ, and the sign of Jahmiyyah, أَنْ يُسَمُّوا أَهْلَ السُنَّةِ مُشَبِّهَةً. That is mentioned in the book اعتقاد أهل السنة والجماعة for Imam Lalaka'i, volume 2, page 179. And Ibn Manda, in his explanation of Hadith al-Nuzul, page 53, he cited these words to Abdullah ibn Mubarak. Also, Az-Zabidi, the commentator of the book Ihya Ulumuddin for Ghazali, he mentioned in his book Ithaf al-Sad al-Muttaqeen, volume 7, page 407, volume 9, page 407, he said, وَسَمَّتِ الْمُعْتَزِلَةُ أَهْلَ السُنَّةِ مُشَبِّهَةً. The Mu'tazila called or gave a bad nickname to Ahl al-Sunnah, calling them مشبهة. وهذا بواسطة قياس الشاهد على الغائب. This is because of their problem of comparing the seen to the unseen. Did you understand that? For example, if we say that Allah went over His throne, they say, A'udhu Billah, you're making Allah similar to His creatures, because we don't know anyone who moves from direction to another, but he's a human being. He must be having a body. So now they're comparing. But wait a minute, you should be putting present in your mind that Allah is unsimilar to His creatures. But they don't do that. طيب. Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani. Have you heard of Abdul Qadir Jilani? The Sufis, they go like that. يا عبد القادر يا جيلاني يا متصرف في الأكوان. Did you hear that? Oh, Abdul Qadir ya Jilani, who is what? Mutasarrif. He has the full superpower over the whole universe. MashaAllah, where is he now? Where is that control of the whole universe? In his grave. Dead or alive? Dead. So how can he do that? In his grave he can do anything. That's what they say. Abdul Qadir Jilani himself, he said, والجهمية تسمي مثبتة الصفات مشبهة لإثباتها صفات الله. He said the Jahmis call those who affirm the attributes of Allah, they call them mushabbiha, people of similarity, and those who make Allah similar to His creatures. ومن علامات الزنادقة, and the signs of those heretic people, تسميتهم أهل الأثر بالحشوية والمجسمة والمشبهة. The sign of those heretic people is this, that they call the people of hadith, people of athar, they call them hashawi, mujassim, mushabbih. Where did he say that? In his book Al-Ghunya لطالبي الحق, page 58. Okay, this is the sign of now. There's another sign for the Jahmis. The sign of the Jahmi is to say Allah is not in the sky. Not in the height. They say Allah is not over His throne. He's not over. So there's nothing over the throne. Once we've been asking one Jahmi person this question: هل فوق العرش رب? And this word was just like an earthquake that quaked his heart. Quaked his heart. He couldn't answer it. It was so heavy over him. هل فوق العرش رب? Is there a Lord over the throne? He couldn't give an answer. Why do I mention that? Now listen to this. Please, I want you to understand it fully. I don't want you to get out of this place without understanding it. We have a Salaf, and at the time of the Salaf, Jahm bin Safwan and those Jahmi people existed. Okay? Now, as Salaf were rebuttaling them, refuting them, replying on them. Why? Because they denied that Allah is over His throne. What about the Salaf? If the Salaf had the same belief, why did they disagree with them? Okay. Now, what was the disagreement? The Jahmis say Allah is over His throne. That means in His value. His value is so high. That's the meaning of Allah is over His throne. Oh, mashallah. That means as if Allah is saying, ثم استوى على العرش. Now, then He became more valuable than the throne. That means before he created the heavens and the earth in 7 days, his throne was not more, his value was not over the value of the throne. Can you, wallahi, please tell me, I'm going to get angry. Can someone say to me, who is more important, you or the water? Huh? Or who has more value, you or this mouse? Isn't this silly? And it is silly to say that Allah wanted to show us that His value was more higher than the value of the throne. Oh yeah? Oh, but that's after He created the heavens and the earth in 7 days. But what about before? So He wasn't in 6 days, sorry. Jazakallah khair. So before that, His value was less or equal? What are you talking about? Okay. The Jahmis, they had to what? They had to make that claim because they're running away from any kind of belief that Allah is truly over the throne. They may say to you, physically? You say to them, I don't know the word physically. I don't like the words that you add in order to let me regret. No. I only use what Allah used for Himself. He's over His throne. He says to you, by his person, physically, materialistically. They keep using these words in order what? To sadden you and to discourage you from attributing Allah what He attributed to Himself. Don't listen to them. You just say to them, I believe that Allah is over His throne. I stick myself to using the words that Allah used for Himself, and I don't exceed that to any other expression or word. That will make him more angry. Don't worry. Now, Al-Bukhari himself, here authentically narrated by Hamad ibn Zayd, a great tabi'i, saying, Al-Qur'anu kalamullah. The Qur'an is the word of Allah. Nazala bihi Jibreel. Jibreel had descended with it. ما يجادلون, they argue nothing but about this. أنه ليس في السماء إله. Their argument is about nothing but to prove that there is no ilah in the height. Now there's a question here, I want you to pay attention to it. Was there any disagreement between Salaf and Jahmiyyah about the high value of Allah? Yes or no? Yes or no? No. They both agreed on that. So if you say that the argument between Salaf and Jahmiyyah was regarding the value of Allah, the Jahmis were trying to prove that Allah's value is high, as if you're saying that the Salaf disagreed with them. The Salaf wanted to prove that Allah's value is low. That's not true. So what is the disagreement about? What was the disagreement about? The disagreement was about, is Allah over His throne truly? Not His value. Yes or no? Is there anything called divine over the throne or not? The Jahmis say no. The Salaf say yes. So how can a foolish person decide to be on the side of those Jahmi people and to abandon the way of the Salaf? In another narration, he says, they're trying to tell us that there is nothing over the throne in heaven. This is narrated by Ahmad in Sahih Muslim. Musnad Ahmad, in his Musnad. And it is authentic. And Sheikh Shu'aib al-Arnaout, he's a well-known Sheikh of Hadith nowadays. He is similar to Sheikh Al-Albani, not in his work. Al-Albani is significant. But he's similar in terms of coming from the same place, from Kosovo, from Albania. Okay? He is so close, inshallah, to Albani regarding his ideology, etc. We don't know much about his ideology. But as a muhaddith now, he is a good one. He's a good one. He said that this narration is authentic, that it goes soundly, connectively to Hamad ibn Zayd. He mentioned that in Musnad Ahmad, volume 6, page 457. Now, so tell us now, what was the doctrine of Bukhari? Bukhari was using these narrations, okay, to refute the Jahmis. So if you say that you guys are Wahhabis, that's why you believe that Allah is in the heaven, etc., etc., we say, Alhamdulillah, Bukhari was Wahhabi before us. And we are on the way of the Salaf. And Bukhari was narrating authentically the attitude of the Salaf against the Jahmis. So we are on that Salafi way. There's something here important also. كل من نفى شيئا قال لمثبته مجسم. Everyone who denies something among the attributes of Allah, he will be calling the one who affirms that attribute مجسم مشبه. Were you the one who was sitting here before? Did you record my previous lecture? No? Okay. Okay. Did you understand my point? Everyone who denies an attribute will be criticizing the one who approves that attribute or affirms that attribute, and he will be calling him mujassim, mushabbih, hashawi, jihawi, etc., etc. Why? I'll give you an example. I had a debate yesterday and today with Ash'ari person. He came to me and he said, "You are mujassim." I said to him, "Why?" He said, "Because you're making Allah similar to His creatures. You're making Allah body." I said, "But you are my partner in being mujassim as well." He said, "How?" I said, "You believe," I know what the Ash'aris believe, by the way. I said to him, "You believe that Allah will be seen at the Day of Judgment in Jannah?" He said, "Yes, that's what we believe." I said, "So you are proving to Allah direction. How can He be seen without direction?" And muqabala, interview, and body. I said, you have to accept it. You are also mujassim. You are my partner in taslim. And he was really getting mad at me. And I said, look, either you leave ilm al-kalam, because ilm al-kalam, the theological rhetoric, is the one that caused you to accuse me that I am mujassim. Either you leave it and you come to people of Ahl Sunnah, or you keep contradicting yourself. You go to the Mu'tazila and you use our system, Salafi system, against them. And then you use the system of Mu'tazila against us. You are a contradictory person. So either you come to us, leave ilm al-kalam, or I call you contradictory person. And mujassim, my partner in tajsim. Wallahi, he couldn't make a point. Wallahi. Since yesterday and 3 hours before, he couldn't make a point. I said, Wallahi, look, I have a lecture today and I'm busy, but Wallahi, I'm not gonna leave you. Wallahi, if you go to China, I'm gonna chase you to China. I'm gonna stay with you until you make a point. He couldn't make a point. He said, go and make tawbah from Tajsim. That's all he said. Right. Some people may say to you, all right, we agree that we disagreed with one another. Maturidis, Ash'aris, Mu'tazilis, etc. You know, the Mu'tazila are something like 25 or 30 even cults, Mu'tazila. They're not one cult. The Ash'aris, many cults. Two main cults. This is very important. Mu'awwidah and Mu'awwilah. What's the meaning of Mufawwidah? Means, briefly in English, we don't know. What's the meaning of Allah's attributes? So if I say to you, Allah yaghdab, Allah gets angry. Allah gets angry. Oh, you don't know the meaning of that. How come? Don't you speak Arabic? غضب, غضب, you don't know the meaning of غضب, wrath, غير المغضوب عليهم يا أخي. You don't know? You don't know what's the meaning of مغضوب عليهم. مغضوب عليهم, that they are angered by Allah, that Allah is angry with them. This is the meaning of مغضوب عليهم. So you don't know the meaning of that? No. You don't differentiate between the meaning of Rahim and Muntaqim? I don't know. What? How can you say, I don't know, I can't differentiate between Rahim, merciful, and Muntaqim? What's the meaning of Muntaqim? Retaliate. He is a retaliator against, for example, the evil people. Retaliator. Right? Huh? Yeah. Avenger. Okay? You don't differentiate between the two? Between Rahim, Muntaqim? They don't make different meanings to you? He said, Allahu A'lam. What do they mean? La, it's not only Allahu A'lam. You should also be A'lam. You should know it. So Mufawwida, they say, we don't know the meaning of Allah's attributes. We say, okay, no problem. Did the Prophet know while you did not know? Did the Prophet know the meaning of Allah's attributes, or he was ignorant? Here they fall in trouble. In fact, they were accused by the second part of Ash'aris, Mu'awwila, that they claim that the Prophet did not know Allah's attributes. If they say, yes, the Prophet knew, we ask them, did he convey the meanings of those attributes or not? How come he knew it but he did not convey their meaning? How come? Now the Mu'awwila Ash'ari, Mu'awwila means those who make tahrif, they twist the meanings of Allah's attributes. This is Mu'awwila. Mufawwida, those who say, we don't know the meanings of Allah's attributes. Why, Mufawwida, you said that? They say, because we saw those who give false meanings and interpretation for Allah's attributes, and they keep arguing about Allah's attributes, and that caused the darkness in our hearts. We don't want that. We want to run away from that. Yeah, run away from that. But follow the way of the Salaf in terms of understanding Allah's names and attributes, because they were explaining Allah's attributes. Go, for example, to Tafsir al-Tabari. He never said about one of the attributes of Allah, we don't know its meanings. He never said it. Ibn Taymiyyah said, those Mufawwida are even worse than the Mu'awwila, because their banner is Ar-Rasikhuna fil. Do you still remember the word Ar-Rasikhuna fil? Please, you should remember that. Ar-Rasikhuna fil ilm. What's the meaning of Rasikhun fil ilm? Sorry? Right, hi. Firmly grounded in knowledge. You're right. But the way of those Mufawwida is to be firmly grounded in ignorance. Did that make point to you or not? Because they are praising ignorance in Allah, making it their way, that we don't know about Allah's attributes. We don't know the meaning of Allah's attributes. If they praise this way, as if they are praising those who are ignorant about Allah's names and attributes, making it significant. How come? So we can see those Ash'aris are in two parties, cults and sects. Why? Why you are divided? Where's the minds that you praised? Didn't you say that you can know better about Allah when you follow this theological rhetoric? This is a fact, brothers, that this theological rhetoric caused a great deal of division and tribulations and problems and fitan in the ummah. As well, those Mu'awwila, they claim that the Mufawwida, they praise ignorance, but the Mufawwida themselves accuse the Ash'ari Mu'awwila that they speak about Allah without knowledge. And both are true. Those are ignorance and those are speaking about Allah without knowledge. That's true. One of the Ash'aris, he had mentioned or declared why he left the Ash'ari madhab. He said, if Allah will be asking me, I was thinking, if Allah will be asking me at the Day of Judgment, why did you believe that I'm over my throne in the height? Why do you believe that I have two hands? Why do you believe that I can go, I can come, I can go down to the lowest heaven, I can speak? He said, if Allah asks me this, I'll be saying to him, oh Allah, I affirm to you what you attributed yourself, that's all. But if I gave different meanings about Allah without knowledge, then I fear that Allah will be asking me, how did you speak about me without knowledge? That's why he left this Ash'ari madhab. For example, and I was talking about the actions of, the attributes of action and the attributes of what? Person. I'll give you an example about the attribute of action. The Prophet ﷺ said, at the Day of Judgment, Allah will be speaking to His creatures by a voice that the distant one among them will hear it as equally as the closest one will be hearing it. يسمعه من بعد أن الله ينادي. Allah will be calling by a voice that the distant one will hear it as the close one will hear it. Both the same. And the Prophet says, إن ربي قد غضب اليوم غضبا لم يغضب قبله مثله ولن يغضب بعده مثله. Allah had become this day, at the day of gathering. The Prophet, at that time, at the Day of Gathering, no one can speak except the Prophets. And the logo and the word that the Prophet says repeatedly at that day, Ummati, Ummati, my nation. And he'll be saying, Rabbi Sallim. Oh, all the Prophets will be saying, Rabbi Sallim, Rabbi Sallim, Rabbi Sallim. Oh Allah, make it peaceful on people. It's a horrible day. So at that day, the Prophet said that my Lord had become angry more ever than before, and such an anger that will not occur after that day. His anger, Allah's anger, will be the highest, the most anger, the most type of anger, that it did not take place before and it will never take place after that. So that's an attribute of what? Action. This is a type of action that occurred more than any time else before. Let's get back to al-majaz. Al-majaz. Al-majazu mimma yajuzu nafyuh. Majaz is what possibly can be, we can use majaz for something that we want to deny. For example, okay? I say to this man, you are a lion. And a matter of fact, I'm denying that he's a lion, because I'm making the word lion, metaphoric. I'm denying that he's truly lion. Okay? طيب. I want to say to someone, this brother, no offense, you are metaphorically clever. Did I praise him or I criticized him? Dispraised him? You are metaphorically clever. You are metaphorically person of knowledge. What if I say to you, you are a person of knowledge metaphorically? What does it mean? He's ignorant. The Mu'tazila say that Allah Alim, Hakim, Qadir, Sami', Basir, they say these are mere names that have no meaning. They say, Sami'un bila sam', he's a hearing without hearing. He hears without hearing. Basirun bila basar, He is a sightful without sight. Alimun bila alim. He's a person of knowledge without knowledge. You know what I said to one of the Mu'tazila? He said, Anta aqilun bila aql. What is that? What's coming? What's happening to those people? It's really horrible. These people caused a big damage, catastrophe in the ummah. No. And their system is like this. They precede negation before affirmation. For example, what they say. Allahu laysa jasadan, laysa shajaratan, laysa lawnan, laysa, Allah is not. That's their system. Allah is not. I said, this system is bad. Do you know if you go to a king and you say to him, أنت لست حمارا, أنت لست غبيا, أنت لست مجنونا. You say to the king, oh king, you are not crazy. You are not stupid. You are greater than that. What's going to happen to you? Only put you in prison? He may kill you. If you say to him, oh, you are not crazy. You are not foolish. You are not. In matter of fact, you are dispraising this king. So this is what they begin with. Allah laysa, he's not. And the way of the Ahl Sunnah, that they affirm to what Allah affirmed to himself before saying he is not. You may say he's not, just like Allah saying, Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum. It's kind of negation that is accompanied with affirmation. It's a negation, what? That is accompanied with affirmation. Allahu la ilaha illa al-hayyul qayyum. Or, for example, وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى الْحَيِّ. Al-hayy is affirmation now. You're proving that Allah is what? Alive. الَّذِي لَا يَمُوت. There's negation here, that he never died. Yes. But not to make it the opposite, the contrary. To make the system like this, he's not. It does not by itself affirm a perfectness to Allah, unless you accompany it with the attributes of affirmation, affirming the attributes of what Allah attributes to himself. Now there's something important here. القول في بعض الصفات كالقول في البعض الآخر. What you say about certain attributes, or your attitude to certain attributes, should be the same with all the other attributes. Like for instance, the Ash'aris, they affirm 7 sifat attributes for Allah. They say He's Alim, Hakim, Qadir, what else? Sami', Basir, Mutakallim, Murid. Those are 7 attributes to Allah. They say these are as-sifatul aqliya, logical kind of attributes. There should not be any kind of ta'wil. We should not be given it different meanings. It's haram, you should not. But as for the other attributes, they say no. We give it different meanings. So we say to them, what you said about those 7 attributes should be the same of what you say about the other attributes. Because if those 7 attributes did not cause any kind of imagination of similarity in your mind, the other attributes should be the same. Otherwise, you are contradicting yourself. Did you understand that, brothers? Your attitude to certain attributes should not be contradictory. Your attitude should not be contradictory. Like saying, I believe that Allah is Sami' Basir, but I can't believe that Allah has hands. You're making Allah body parts? Well, tell me, when you say that Allah is Sami' Basir, also you're also attributing to Allah parts, because if you say I don't know someone who has hands, but he has parts. And we say to them, we don't know anyone in the shahid, in the scene, in what is seen to us. We don't know anyone who is Sami' Basir, but he has ears and eyes. So as you denied the hands for Allah, you should deny that he is Sami' Basir as well. So affirming some attributes while denying others is a contradictory kind of system that you're using. That's why we say, what you say about certain attributes is the same of what you should be saying about all other attributes. Otherwise, you are contradictory. Is that understood? Fine. So, no offense. If you see someone whose way is to deny the attributes of Allah, you can catch him by his ear, just like a father catching the ear of his son by saying to him, by catching him from what he affirms. He must affirm attributes to Allah. He must. So catch him where he affirms. If he affirms 7 attributes for Allah, tell him there's no difference between what you affirmed and what you denied. If this one causes similarity, also the 7 attributes cause similarity. So there's no difference between what you affirmed and what you denied. Either you affirm all or you deny all, or you'll be contradictory. Understood? جيد. Another point. It is not enough if this word has 2 meanings. Listen to me carefully. It's very important. It is not allowed for you to use one of the 2 meanings by your choice. The context is the one that should give that criterion and judgment. For example, whenever we say that Allah is over His throne, those Jahmi people, they say to us instantly, so what do you say about وَهُوَ مَعَكُمْ أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُمْ, and He's with you wherever you are? Did you face some people who say that to you before? Did you? Anyone? Yes? If Allah is over His throne, so what do you say about Allah saying to you that He is with you wherever you are? How can you answer that? Look, this man is not where you graduate from university. Are you graduate from university? You don't need to be graduate from university to know that. You don't need. It's natural. When your mom says to you when you were a kid, oh my son, may Allah be with you. What does it mean? Will you be saying to your mom, huh? That means Allah will go to school with me? You're not going to say that. It's well known. But let us prove it from the Quran. أَلَمْ تَرَ أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ ما يكون من نجوى 3 إلا هو رابعهم ولا 5 إلا هو سادسهم. Oh, let's bring وهو معكم. Wait. وهو معكم أينما كنتم. وهو معكم in Surah Al-Hadid. And He's with you wherever you are. Okay? What does it mean? So let's take the first one I was mentioning to you. Don't you see that Allah knows what's in the heaven and in the earth? There is no 2, but Allah is the 3rd of them. There is no 4, but Allah is the 5th of them. Neither more than that, nor less than that, but Allah is with them wherever they be. What's the meaning of He's with them? Let's continue the ayah. ثم ينبئهم بما عملوا يوم القيامة إن الله بكل شيء عليم. So Allah is talking about ma' of what? With ilm. Ma' of ilm. Because there are 3 types of ma'. Ilm, knowledge, nasr, victory, and musahaba, companionship. So when Allah says إلا هو معهم أينما كانوا, He's talking about what type of ma'? What type of ma'? Companion. No. Knowledge. There's no 2, but Allah is the 3rd of them. What is the evidence? Inna Allah bi kulli shay'in alim. So he ended the ayah with his knowledge. So ma' here is what? So the context is obliging you to accept that kind of meaning, apart from the other two meanings. Clear? Let's bring another ayah. إلا تنصروه فقد نصره الله إذ أخرجه الذين كفروا ثاني اثنين إذ هما في الغار إذ يقول لصاحبه لا تحزن إن الله معنا. So what kind of ma' here? Companionship. Huh? Victory. What about knowledge? And knowledge. You can't say that because this is already, it should be always there because Allah is aware of all what people do. But here, the meaning precisely, exclusively, it means nusra, victory. Why? إِلَّا تَنْصُرُوهُ فَقَدْ نَصَرَهُ اللَّهُ. The ayah begins with what? Victory. And it passes by ma'. Inna Allah ma'ana. So what kind of ma' is this? Victory. But can I say Allah means here also companionship? Because this is one of the meanings of ma'. We say no, even if it's linguistically one of the meanings, but you should put the right meaning that suits the context. This is very important, brothers. Did you understand it? طيب. Also, يعلم ما يلج في الأرض وما يخرج منها. He knows what penetrates into the earth, what emerges from the earth. وما ينزل من السماء, and what descends from the sky. وما يعرج فيها, and what goes up to it. وهو معكم أينما كنتم, and He's with you wherever you may be. والله بما تعملون بصير, and Allah is watching, observing you wherever you be. So Allah is talking about what kind of ma' here? Knowledge. So here they say to you, oh, here you made ta'wil, huh? While believing that Allah is in the heaven, أَمِنْتُمْ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاءِ, you make no ta'wil to it. But to this you make ta'wil. The answer is, ta'wil is for every single word in the Quran, not only for one ayah apart from the other. All the Quran. That's why Imam al-Tabari in his tafsir, he always uses that word. وَتَأْوِيلُ هَذِهِ الْآيَةِ عِنْدَنَا كَذَا كَذَا كَذَا. And the ta'wil of this ayah is so and so and so. Every ayah he says ta'wil al-ayah. Yes, every ayah has ta'wil. But now we say that necessarily this type of meaning is obligatory to be taken like that, because this is what the context necessitates. Not me and you. Clear to you, brother? Very clear, inshallah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Now, now, coming to the word muhdath. The people of bid'ah, they say muhdath means makhluk. No. They say yes. What is the evidence? ما يأتيهم من ذكر من ربهم محدث إلا استمعوه وهم يلعبون. What does it mean? There is no revelation, dhikr, that comes from their Lord, muhdath, but they hear it while they are jesting, playing. So Allah said that the revelation is muhdath. Oh, what's the meaning of muhdath here? Here is translated into English, a new from their Lord, which is accepted, a new. Newly from up to down, yes, this is new on earth. But it's not created. You know what? The evidence. Look at my significant evidence. Did Allah want to tell us that He created the revelation? That's why He said muhdath? They say yes. Then why, when Allah talked about the earth and the heavens and the creatures and the universe, He never used the word muhdath to them except His revelation? Why He didn't say that the heavens and the earth are muhdath? He didn't use the word muhdath. He always used the word makhluq, khalaqa. He didn't say ahdatha. But He used His word muhdath, yuhdith, for two things. For the Quran revelation and for His command. His amr, His Quran. So how can we believe that His amr is makhluq and His Quran is makhluq because of the word muhdath? This is why, brothers, we have to be well aware that those people use Quranic words and they agree to set a special terminology and meaning for it. Special meaning for the term. It's a Quranic term. But they decide to make special meaning for them. You're not allowed to do that. You are ordered, you are obliged, you are confined to understand the meaning of the words, the Quranic words, just like the way the Salaf understood it. You should not be initiating a new understanding, a new meaning for the word, different than the meaning that those people, because those people, Salaf, they used to be highest in also matter of language. Linguistically, they were, those people. If a man wants to say to his wife, go and cook food for me, he used to say it in a poetic way. Just to tell her, go and bring food for me. They were highly linguistic people. So you should not understand. You should not make a new meaning for yourself, other than the meaning that the congregation of the Salaf understood from that word. Did the Salaf say that the Quran is makhluq? Or the command of Allah? How can you say the command of Allah is makhluq? لَعَلَّ اللَّهَ يُحْدِثُ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ أَمْرًا. How can you say that Allah's command is created? I'm finished now. Just 2-3 statements and I'm finished. What are the problems of those people? Those people, they use the word muhdath. They say, al-alam imma muhdath wa imma qadim. Al-alam yanqasim ila qadim wa muhdath. The universe varies, is divided into qadim. And we mentioned last week that qadim doesn't mean what? Eternal. Because Allah described the moon that it takes a form of an ancient what? Arjun. I forgot the meaning of the word Arjun. وَالْقَمَرَ قَدَّرْنَاهُ مَنَازِلَ حَتَّى عَادَ كَالْعُرْجُونِ الْقَدِيمِ. And the moon, and we have determined the moon into phases until it returned like an old date stock. Old, ancient. So they say Allah is old. We don't. Allah did not say that He is qadim. But anyway, we understand what you mean. So they say Allah is qadim and the whole world is muhdath. They divided the world into two beings. One is qadim, one is muhdath. We say you should not be using the word qadim as an attribute to Allah, because He did not attribute Himself to this, but He attributed the moon, that He became just like an old date stock. So why do you give to Allah an attribute that Allah attributed the moon for the moon? And muhdath, they say muhdath means makhluq. It's not true. That's what led the Mu'tazila to say that the word of Allah is makhluq, because He said about the Quran, dhikr, it is muhdath. That was their fitna. And I was saying to them, who are the Mu'tazila today? Especially the Ibadis in Oman. They are Mu'tazila. In my debate with them, I said to them, why Allah used the word muhdath for Al-Quran, but He did not mention it, He did not use it in terms of the whole creatures in the heavens and the earth. Only when He wanted to tell us that His revelation is makhluk, He used the word muhdath. While He was using the word khalaqa, makhluk, khalaqtu, yakhluqu, even the word yakhluqu, it doesn't mean necessarily creating from nothing. And I think I mentioned that to you. Even the word khalaqa, that is why you are obliged to use the right meaning that the context obliges you. For example, Isa said, أَنِّي أَخْلُقُ لَكُم مِّنَ الطِّينِ. He said, I create for you from the clay, just like the form of a bird. Listen to this. Does it mean that Isa is saying, I create from nothing? Or you must say that he was picturing, imaging. Even the word khalaqa, you can't use it with the meaning of creating from nothing when you hear that ayah that Isa was saying to the people, I create for you. I create for you here, it means what? I am forming. Forming from what? Min at-teen. If Christians use that word, that ayah against you, oh, your Quran said that Isa said, I create for you. Create. So Jesus is creator. Sorry, in American accent. Creator. You know the English accent. Huh? Doesn't matter. So, creator. So we say to them, no. The word creator here means that I form from you. Continue the ayah, please. I create for you from the clay. I'll repeat it because of this siren. I create for you from the clay. Is this creation from nothing? Huh? So necessarily you should take it as forming, not creating from. So it is not enough, sufficient to say, well, linguistically also to create means to bring from nothing. No, not in this ayah. You're obliged. The context forces you not to take the meaning of creating from nothing. Especially when we are told in this ayah that Isa was saying, I'm creating for you from the clay. So where's the meaning of creating from nothing here? He's saying from the clay. And imaging something, forming an image means create. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said that the people, those who draw images, okay, these images will be brought forth to them, and it will be said to them, give life to what you have created. What's the meaning of what you have created? What you have formed as an image. The Prophet said, أَشَدُّ النَّاسِ عَذَابًا الْمُصَوِّرُونَ. And it will be said to them, فَيُقَالُ لَهُمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَحْيُوا مَا خَلَقْتُمْ. It will be said to them at the Day of Judgment, give life to what you have created. To what you have created from nothing? No, it means what you have imaged. Is that understood to you, brothers? Right. So the way, this is a trap, that they use Quranic words, but they use special meaning that they set up, especially between themselves. And they cause fitna to the people because of that. For example, they say that they divide the being into arad and jawhar. Arad and jawhar. Arad means the attribute. The attribute. Jawhar is the material. And they say the attribute cannot be existed without the material. Al-arad, they say the material, the physic can stand by itself. But arad does not stand without the body. Which is not true. The opposite is the fact now. Look, what happened to your body if this attribute, ar-ruh, separates with it? What happened to your body? Can your body stand without this Arad, Ruh. Okay. What about the angels who can appear to someone apart from the other one? Someone can see them, but at the same time, the other one cannot see them. Does this happen or not? So how can you explain that? Those people are confined to a system and they want to jump over that system to give their judgment about other things. It's not true. So their system, their methodology of saying that the body can stand by itself apart from the unphysical thing being just like attribute, sifa. But the opposite cannot. Well, we can see that the spirit stands by itself while the body cannot stand without it. The opposite. I'll tell you a joke. Can I tell them joke, brother? Yeah. But we don't have time. I know we run out of time. I'm sorry about that. But are you happy or you want to go? Just 5 minutes, inshallah. There was a man who pretended in a village, pretending to be a sheikh. So they need to come to him to give them fatwa. They consider him to be a sheikh. While he is not sheikh, he has nothing. One of those people in the village, he has a son, and his son went to Al-Azhar to study there. Now this man is outraged. He knows that if this man is graduate from Azhar and he's coming back to the village, that means there is no rizq for this fake scholar who is not in truth scholar. So when this son came from Al-Azhar, this man wanted to put him in trouble. Remember what I said to you. Jawhar is material, okay? Arad means the attribute of that material. Is that right? Okay? So what is that word they use? Jawhar. At the same time, the word Jawhar means jewelry. Jewelry. Mujawharati. I don't know if some of you know the meaning of the word mujawharat. Mujawharat means jewelry. Jawharji is jewelrist. Is that right? Do you remember that? So the word Jawhar is those people of theological rhetoric, they use the word Jawhar for the material. Well, it's not linguistically, it's not the same. We never call the material Jawhar except through Ilm al-Kalam, this sick kind of system. So this man, the fake man, he brought a dung of a cow. Dung of what? A cow. He put it in front of that new graduate Azhari person. And he said in front of all people, is that Jawhar or Arad? If he said this is Jawhar, the layman people do not know that the meaning of Jawhar, according to the people of theological rhetoric, it means what? Material. Because the layman people, when you use the word Jawhar to them, it means what? Jewelry. So he wanted to put him in trouble. If this man who knows the meaning of Jawhar according to the people of theological rhetoric, if he will say to him, this is Jawhar, he'll be saying to the people, is this the knowledge that your son came with from Al-Azhar? He's calling a piece of shit as Jawhar, jewelry. How can you take knowledge from him? So therefore we say that these people bring a word that is known, especially in the Quran and the Sunnah, but they agree on a special kind of meaning for it, which caused a big kind of tadlis and talbis, confused people thereby. That's why, brothers, as a result, I say to you, you should not allow yourself to use this kind of methodology at all. For example, they say that the attribute does not stay or remain in two different times. That's why the disciple of Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari, he said that the Prophet Muhammad was prophet at that time and now he is no more prophet. Why? Because they say prophet is an attribute. He is a prophet. And the prophet died. And we cannot use this attribute in two different times. That's why we say today he is not prophet, before he was prophet. So the leader at that time, his name was Mahmud ibn Sabaktakin. He was harsh on him. He decided to put poison for him and he ordered him to eat it. He saw that it is insulting to the Prophet ﷺ, offensive, abusive to the Prophet ﷺ. That's why he ordered him to eat the poison, and he died because of that poison, because saying that. This theological rhetoric, it caused Al-Juwayni to say that Allah knows, call that, mujmal. I forgot the meaning of the word mujmal. Yani, لا Allah. Ambiguous, I think. Mujmal, let me see. What is the meaning of the word mujmal? Yeah. Allah knows everything in brief, but not in details. It's because of the theological rhetoric. It caused Juwayn to say that. He doesn't know the world in, his awareness, his knowledge is not in details. He knows in general. Because of what? Because of this theological rhetoric. So that is why we say, in general, I'm sorry, I'm not going to start, but I promise you next week, inshallah, no muqaddimat, khalas. But please excuse me, brothers, these are important and informative things that you may not be able to comprehend and to get an access to it by another chance. Allah knows, maybe there might be some people, inshallah, more important, more expressive, more knowledge. But this is what I can see in the way I see it now here. And I say it humbly. I hope I'm not arrogantly saying it. These details are not easy sometimes to be grabbed. That's why I had to mention these things to you. Also, they said that the whole words of Allah are the same. Ordering, prohibiting, they are the same, they are equal. The words of Allah is one, does not vary. Otherwise, you'll be saying that Allah is changing, because His words are changed into different meanings, into different words, giving order. And they say that the words of Allah are united in one. It is not different things, forbidding, allowing. No. All of these things are one. Then someone said to them, if all the words are one, that means all the attributes of Allah are the same, are as one attribute. They fell in trouble. The Ash'aris fell in a big trouble in this. Until the Amidi is one great, well-known scholar. What did he say? He said, this matter of the Ash'aris, I don't have a solution for it. I hope someone after me will struggle to find a solution for it. But no one gave a solution to it. It was a big tragedy, disaster in the madhab Ash'ari. They could not give any answer to it. So why do we have to follow these? They say that ilmul kalam can be used as an argumentative way to argue with the non-Muslims, to defend Islam, to convince the non-Muslims to become Muslims. It's not true. The opposite had taken place. It caused big confusion, big division in the ummah until today. So therefore we say to the brother, also they say that the bodies, the materials are the same. Al-ajsam mutamathila. And thus this was also a tragic analogy from them, because the bodies are not the same. They're not identical. The iron is a material, and the water is material, and they're not identical. Can we call the water jism? Yes or no? We can call the water jism. And can we call this jism? We can call it jism. Are they identical? No. The Ash'aris say they are identical. How can you solve this tragedy? So these are confusing matters that brought the ummah into a great deal of division, hatred, even shedding blood, as Ghazali said. This ilm al-kalam caused a big blood shed everywhere. So it wasn't a good thing that was set in the ummah. It was a conspiracy, and we should be avoid it as much as we can and warning people from it. So this issue today was subjected to this consequence, that we should be avoid it, and we should warn people from it, taking our doctrine purely from the Salaf al-Salih, the book of Allah, the authentic sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and as the companions understood it and as they practiced it. Al-Kitab was-Sunnah bifahmi salaf al-Ummah, the book and the Sunnah by the understanding of the Salaf of this Ummah. Briefly, we can say that. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wa sallallahu wasallam ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Is there any question? But briefly, yes. Can you raise your voice? I can't hear you. كل شيء هالك إلا وجهه. They will say yes. That means his hands will be also perishing, except his face. Is that what they say? Can we read the whole ayah? ولا تدع مع الله إلها آخر لا إله إلا هو. Do not invoke anyone with Allah. Why? Because there is no ilah except Him. كل شيء هالك إلا وجهه. Al-wajh means, in fact, al-wajh is the source of jihah, direction. Okay? Al-wajh. Now, I'll prove it to you. ولله المشرق والمغرب فأينما تولوا فثم وجه الله. الشافعي said وجه الله أي الجهة إليه. Okay? يعني any direction from any place in the world, you take the direction to Allah. What is it? The Qibla. I'll continue. وَمَا تُنْفِقُونَ إِلَّا ابْتِغَاءَ وَجْهِ اللَّهِ. And you do not spend, but it should be for the sake of the wajh of Allah. What's the meaning of wajh? Linguistic people say الوجه والوجهة بمعنى واحد. Wajh and wijha, both they mean direction. In fact, why do we call this here? Why do we call it wajh? Because it's the first direction to the whole body. What people firstly look in you when they talk to you? Huh? Do they begin with looking at your shoes? So that's why they call this wajh, because this is the direction where a person take when he start looking at you. So al-wajhu wal-wijhatu bima'nan wahid. That's why linguistic people say astaghfirullah dhanban lastu muhsihi rabbal ibadi ilayhi al-wajhu wal-amalu. I seek Allah's forgiveness for a sin that I cannot count. He's the Lord of the servants. Ilayhi al-wajh. To Him is the direction of what you work. كل شيء هالك إلا وجهه. When Allah was talking about the importance of Tawheed, He said كل شيء هالك إلا وجهه. Any direction that you direct your action to is perishing, except when the direction of your work be for Allah. Look here. وَمَا تُنْفِقُونَ إِلَّا ابْتِغَاءَ وَجْهِ اللَّهِ. Also, وَالَّذِينَ صَبَرُوا ابْتِغَاءَ وَجْهِ رَبِّهِمْ, those who are patient for the sake of their Lord, for the sake of His face? No. That's why you cannot prove to Allah a face from those ayat. Except there is no ayah in the Quran mentions the word face, which means the face of Allah. But it means the direction in your action and work and worship to Allah. Let your good actions be directed to Allah. This is what it means. طيب. Let's see also. Look. أينما يوجهه لا يأتي. No, forget about this now. Let me bring another one. Yes. واصبر نفسك مع الذين يدعون ربهم بالغداة والعشي يريدون وجهه. How can you say they seek His face? They seek in their good actions, in their worship, the direction to Allah primarily, foremostly. That's what it means. Okay? They say, oh, you're making ta'wil. Yes, we're making ta'wil to every ayah. Not only this one. And we let our ta'wil be confined to what the context necessitates and obliges. Clear? In the hadith, أعوذ بوجهك, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, قل هو القادر على أن يبعث عليكم عذابا من فوقكم أو من أسفل منكم. sorry, لا. قل هو القادر على أن يبعث عليكم عذابا من فوقكم أو من تحت أرجلكم أو يلبسكم شيعا ويذيق بعضكم بأس بعض. What is the meaning of this ayah? Say, He is the one able to send upon you affliction from above you or from beneath your feet, or to confuse you, so you become sects and make you taste the violence of one another. The Prophet said, أعوذ بوجهك. Yani, when Allah was giving, this is an intimidation, a warning that Allah is giving. Allah is able to bring you a punishment from over you, from above you, or from beneath of you. So the Prophet, when this ayah was revealed, he said, أعوذ بوجهك, I seek refuge with your face, or by your face, from that. This hadith can be used as an evidence that Allah has a face. Then when he said, وَيُذِيقَ بَعْضَكُمْ بَأْسَ بَعْضٍ, and to let some of you taste the violence of one another. Then the Prophet said, هَذِهِ أَهْوَنْ, this is easier. A great punishment is greater than that. To let us be punished by one another, as fitan that we see nowadays, this is easier. It's clear to you, inshallah? Any other question? Let me look for another one. Yes?
You know, sometimes Allah, you want to do something, like example, you want to sit here, but you don't really want to sit because you want to go out, and you you push yourself to sit here. Will Allah reward you?
The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever sit in the house of Allah, waiting for the prayer, okay, he is considered by Allah that he is praying, even while sitting. He'll be given the rewards of praying while he's sitting, waiting for the other prayer, as long as the prayer is making him waiting. But if he also sit down only just to avoid fitan, he also be rewarded just for that.
Like you want to do something for the sake of Allah from your heart, but you want to do it, you don't, sometimes we're human, sometimes we don't like something, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, you like something, it might be, is no good for you. You might dislike something, it might be good for you.
Okay.
But sometimes we don't like something, but we do it for the sake of
Please make the statement faster, please.
Okay. Like sometimes we humans don't like something.
You
But
don't
we
like
have-
something,
But we have to.
but
do
it's better for you. You may hate something while it is better for you, and you like something while it's bad for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you do something that you and like we human, we're weak. We don't want to spend because we like money. And if we spend it for the sake of Allah, and we don't like to spend, will Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward us? You understand?
Mm. لن تنالوا البر حتى تنفقوا مما تحبون. You will not be attaining righteousness unless you spend of what you like to spend. So be careful. Don't spend something while you hate, because you may not attain righteousness.
No,
I can't, Sheikh.
my point is not to hate.
This is what I understood from you. If you want more details, please, Sheikh. Inshallah, after this or some other time, because now we are confined to the time. Yes.
What did the Muqawwida say about the ayah? وَلِلَّهِ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى فَادْعُوهُ بِهَا?
Mm.
Because they don't know, what's it called? They don't know what Rahman means. How can they ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're the most merciful, have mercy on me? So if they don't know the meaning, they won't be able to ask.
No, they may say, I'm not defending them, but they may say, we don't know its meaning, but anyway, we can use it for wasila for us, asking Allah thereby. Okay? They may say that, but that don't use that as a point for you, because they will run away from your point. What is better for you to say is, how come you don't differentiate between Ar-Rahman and Al-Jabbar? How come? And you say that all those words we don't know about its meaning, as we don't know about the meaning of Hamim, Ain, Sin, Qaf, Alif, Lam, Mim. How come they're the same to you? And the Quran was revealed to be understood. كتاب أنزلناه إليك مبارك, a book that we descended to you, blessed, ليدبروا آياته, in order to understand its meanings, the meaning of its verses, in order to understand the meaning of it. Do you want me to bring to you the quotation, the reference? Are you sure? ليدبروا, I hope I can find it quickly. ليدبروا آيات. Now, it's in Surah Sad, ayah number 28. A book, blessed book, that we descended in order to understand, to ponder upon its meanings. Allah is telling us that He descended it to be understood. But He did not say, except the ayat of attributes of Allah. No. Clear? No. Not two questions. Otherwise, we would have allowed that brother also to give two questions. Do you have any question? Okay, so we come to him, then we come back to you. Quickly.
In regards to the speech of Allah, you say that Allah speaks with sound and letters.
It has sounds. It has letters. In fact, this Quran that we have today, it has letters. But these are created letters that we write by ourselves. But the words of Allah that He had written, and which are in the sacred tablet, it's not created, even if it's letters. Okay?
The people that say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is everywhere,
Mm.
and they're saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in the toilet and in dirty places, like pubs and the toilet.
This is an imperative thing to them, that you say to them. Is He also in the toilet? Is He... some people said, you are making had, you're making Allah limited when you say He is in the heaven apart from the earth. We say to them, you have to make a limit to Allah. Otherwise, you'll be saying that Allah is inside you. Is He inside you or He's not? If they said yes, this is kufr. If they say no, they have limited Allah already. They have to. And the belief of Ahl Sunnah, just like Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari, he wrote a book called La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. Wow. رسالة أبي الحسن الأشعري إلى أهل الثغر. He said that Ahl Sunnah believe that Allah is over His skies. فوق سماواته. Because when we talk about the limited heaven, we call them skies, because they're limited. But Allah is in the height over those 7 skies. Okay? He says, Allah is over His skies. He is over His throne. He is in the heaven apart from the earth. Apart from the earth. That's what he said in his book. رسالة أبي الحسن الأشعري إلى أهل الثغر. It's page number 300 and maybe 84 or 36. I hope inshallah I'm not wrong. 336. He said that. He is over His throne, over His heaven, apart from the earth. That's the doctrine of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Yes?
You know, there's some people, it's incorrect to say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is without space and time. He is outside space and time.
Oh, He is outside. He is outside space. Using words apart from what Allah described Himself, we don't like it. It's forbidden. Who told you that He is out of time? The Prophet said that Allah, when He finished judging when He finished. In another hadith, when He finished creating the hands and the heavens and the earth. Wait, give me a second, معلش. Give me 1 second, okay? 1 second.
Sure, I think he meant Allah is not bound by time. Time is not fixed.
You should not say Allah is not bound on time. These are confusing kinds of words. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, did He make something due to the time or not? Huh? Like saying to Adam, saying to Musa, what is that in your hand, ya Musa? Did He say it in a specific time or He said it eternally? جيد. جيد. Okay. You said He is. Bye. Look at this hadith. It's in Sahih Bukhari. Hadith number 7437. And also hadith number 6573. He said, alaykum salam, حتى إذا فرغ الله من القضاء بين العباد. Until when it comes to the time when Allah finished making His judgment between His servants. Does this indicate time or not? He finished. طيب. In another hadith, ثم يفرغ الله من القضاء بين العباد. There's an important evidence. The Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, according to Sahih Bukhari, hadith number 3798. This is very important. The Prophet said, أتدرون ما قال ربكم الليلة? Do you know what your Lord said this night? There's another hadith. Hadith number 3798. ضحك الله الليلة من فعالكما. He said to 2 companions, Allah tonight, this night, He laughed from what you did. 2 companions pretended that they have food. They were doing this because they had a guest and they don't want the guest to think that they gave him their own food. They were pretending to be eating, husband and wife, to take care of the guest of Rasulullah, because the Prophet did not have anything to host him. So he said, who can host this guest of mine? One of the companions said, I'll host him. They gave him, they tricked the children, the food was for them, until they slept. They gave them toys. The children were hungry. And this food was dedicated for them. So they gave the food of the children to the guest of Rasulullah. Not only this, when the guest saw that the companion, that host, he was doing this, they thought that he is eating, and so the guest was so happy that, alhamdulillah, I did not deprive them from the food, while they were pretending. Next day, when that companion came to the Prophet ﷺ, the Prophet said to him, Allah this night was laughing from what you did. This night he was laughing, this night. So it seems that the Prophet doesn't know that Allah should not be bound to the time. The Prophet was Mujassim. He was not Ash'ari. Was the Prophet Ash'ari? He wasn't Ash'ari. That's why he doesn't know the true Aqidah, that Allah is out of that factor of time and place. Is the throne of Allah place or not? Huh? Is He over that place or not? Is the lowest heaven that Allah comes down to at the last third part of the night, is it a place or not? And Allah gets down to it. Is this a place or not? There's another hadith narrated by Bukhari and Muslim. Bukhari 6573 and Muslim 299. That the servant of Allah, who is the last one to get out of hell, he keeps supplicating Allah to let him enter Jannah, until Allah will be laughing at him because of his extreme supplication. Then Allah will be saying to him, get into my Jannah. Until Allah will be laughing. Until He will be laughing. So tell me, why Muslim did not graduate from this Greek school and he narrate to us these kinds of narrations? Then the Prophet said, وَتَبْقَى هَذِهِ الْأُمَّةِ فِيهَا مُنَافِقُوهَا. This ummah will be having their own hypocrites with them, with the ummah. فَيَأْتِيهِمُ اللَّهِ. Then Allah will be coming to them. فَيَأْتِيهِم فَيَقُولُ أَنَا رَبُّكُمْ. He will be saying, I'm your Lord. فَيَقُولُونَ هَذَا مَكَانُنَا حَتَّى يَأْتِيَنَا رَبُّنَا. No, this is not you. Allah will be coming to them through an image which is not His image. And He will be saying to them, I'm your Lord. They will be saying to Him, no, you're not our Lord. This is our place where we're going to stick until our Lord will come to us. And that is in Sahih Muslim and Sahih Bukhari. So which one we follow now? Do we follow Aristo, Aflatun? Or we follow Rasulullah, whose narrations are authentically narrated by Bukhari and Muslim? Even the attribute of dahik, laughing. You may say, what? Allah laughs? Yes, Allah loves. And that's why we're happy having a Lord that laughs. Because you will not be missing any good favor from Him by a God that laughs. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said to the companions, shouldn't you be asking me what I'm laughing from? They said, yes. He said, this is the way that the Prophet laughed. And he said to us, shouldn't you be asking me why I'm laughing from? They said, yes. Rasulullah said, min dahiki rabbil alameen. I am laughing because of the laughing of Allah. Where's that? Sahih Muslim, hadith number 310. No, please don't tell us that Muslim was Mujassim, Bukhari was Mushabbih. Don't tell us this, please. The Prophet also says, يَضْحَكُ اللَّهُ إِلَى رَجُلَيْنِ. Allah will be laughing because of two kinds of men. يَدْخُلَانِ الْجَنَّةِ. Both enter Jannah. But they used to be fighting one another in a war. One kills the other. The one who died, he dies as shaheed. Then the one who killed him becomes Muslim. So there's a killing one, there's a killed one and a killing person, killed and a killer. Both will be holding hands entering Jannah. And Allah will see them. Both will be laughing at them while they're entering Jannah. That's what the Prophet ﷺ said. It's in Sahih Bukhari, hadith number 2671. Tell us about that. Yalla, go ahead and tell us that the Quran is full of tajseem. And that's what they said, by the way. Taftazani said. He said, why the Quran contains a lot of ayat that are indicative to tajseem, without saying once that watch out, this is tajseem? Why didn't he give a warning, one warning, while we have thousands of ayat that indicate tajseem? You know what? Because Allah deliberately wants to show His opposition to the system to the sick system that caused you this kind of sickness, that caused you the denial of Allah's names and attributes. Even when Allah says that He laughs, His laughing is different than our laughing. Why? Because laysa kamithlihi shay, and He is Sami' Basir. Since He is Sami' and Basir, and that doesn't make Him similar to us, He also laughs, while His laughing is different than our laughing. So, ليس كمثله شيء. It's a vaccine from the sickness of similarity. When you have this vaccine, whenever Allah and His Messenger attribute Him, we are ready, because we are free by that vaccine from any sickness. Clear to you? I think that's enough for today.
You, can I, you know, like sometimes people saying, there's no, this, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, don't curse the time, right? Sometimes people saying, this no good time, this no good time.
Yeah, don't curse the time, because the factor of the time is Allah, in a matter of fact. Because you're calling Allah time while you don't know. Because Allah is ad-dahr. Allah is ad-dahr. That's why the Prophet said that Allah said, يُؤْذِينِ ibn Adam. يَسُبُّ الدَّهْرُ وَأَنَا الدَّهْرُ. The son of Adam harms me. He insults the time, and I am the time. That means, in other words, he is insulting the time. He doesn't know that I am the causer of this. And this thing that happened at that time is because of me. Do you get the point? Now, my question that I asked you before. You say that Allah is not bound to the time, right? Does the time has a beginning? Yes or no?
Yes.
It has a beginning? That means you are affirming two times. The time that began in another time. Is there a timing for the beginning of that time? What's wrong with you? You said to me that the time has a beginning. Is that right? Huh? No, it's normal to say that.
Day and night.
No, I'm talking about the time. Does the time has a beginning or not?
Yes.
Yes. So it began by a time. There is a time for the beginning of that time. Is that right? That's why I say we should not be involving ourselves in these kinds of things, because the universe and the creation is ever more complicated than that. Don't put these questions, and don't say that Allah is bound to the time. Look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَإِنَّ يَوْمًا عِنْدَ رَبِّكَ. Allah is affirming that there's a time with Him, which is different than our timing. وَإِنَّ يَوْمًا عِنْدَ رَبِّكَ. A day with your Lord is equivalent of 1,000 years of what you count. That means a year. Okay? That's why Allah told us. Okay? He told us, for example, they say that Allah created the heavens and the earth, and this is the first thing He created. Is that right? Is that right? No. It's not the first thing. You know why? Because Allah said, وَكَانَ عَرْشُهُ عَلَى الْمَاءِ. Allah created the heavens and the earth while His throne was over the water. That means the creation of the throne and the water was before creating then the heavens and the earth. He created the heavens and the earth while His throne was over the water. That's why the scholars said that Allah affirmed a creation before the creation of the heavens and the earth, and that is the throne and the water. So there are things that you should not be involving yourself with. It's over your capacity. You don't know any details about your spirit, which is the thickest, the closest one that hangs your body. You don't know anything about it. وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ. They're asking you concerning the spirit. قُلِ الرُّوحُ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّي, is of the matter of my Lord. وَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِّنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. And you haven't been given any kind of knowledge, but little. The knowledge we all have about it is very little. We don't know anything about it. So if you don't have knowledge about that, and you can't speak with details about it, so how can you want to solve the matter of the time? Did the time happen at a time? And why the time of Allah is different than our, etc., etc. That's why the way of Ahl Sunnah, keep yourself standing where Allah made you standing, and don't exceed the limits, because you'll be confused if you try to jump to go beyond or far above this. So stay. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said, ذَرُونِي مَا تَرَكْتُكُمْ. Leave me to what I have left you. That means don't exceed the limits. You'll be confused. That's why those people, they're exceeding them by saying, for example, all right, you believe, you guys, that Allah is over the heaven, huh? Okay. Before creating the heaven, where was He? And he's happy. I confused them. They're not going to answer. He's very happy. They're not going to answer. We're not going to answer, yes, because Allah told us that He is over His throne now, but He did not tell us before that where was He. He didn't tell us. Wallahi, if He told us, we would be telling you. But look, you are in a miserable situation because Allah told you that He is over His throne and you don't want to believe it. What if, for example, I brought you the information about where was He before He became over His throne? What if I told you about that? You're going to deny it as well as you're denying now that Allah is over His throne. Did you get the point? That's all. Jazakumullahu khairan. وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. It was a bit difficult, but next time, no more details about that. I think that's enough. And we're going to go directly to the point of At-Tahawyah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. حياكم الله. Hey, turn it off now. عليكم السلام. حياك الله. حياكم الله.